My business partner Jay and I refer to the fear, which actually comes from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. There's one point in which they're so deep that they talk about the fear. And occasionally you can look over and you can spot that person that's going a little heavy on the hot sauce, and they've got the fear. You can see it in their eyes.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the K. Johns used to do the Execution Station.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So him and Vic, and they put us one year. I forget what event it was. It might have been New York. We were like a table past the Execution Station. So people were just getting through that and then come to our table. And I saw the look in their eye and the look on their face and the sweat coming down.
Yeah.
Their face was red as my shirt. They were like crying.
There's nothing worse than trying to like get flavor to somebody after they've experienced that. You're done. You're lost.
Yeah. I was like, just come back in an hour or tomorrow.
It's mainly about providing emotional support at that point.
Welcome to Flavor Balance Heat, the podcast for hot sauce lovers and makers. I'm Spike.
And I'm Claire.
I'm Tim with Paulman, Acre and California Hot Sauce Solutions, standing in for Zac, who's off doing Thanksgiving stuff.
And today we're speaking with John Sauchelli from Jersey Barnfire. Hi, John.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Very good.
Hey.
Thank you very much.
Good.
So why don't we just start out just right out of the gate? Tell us about your hot sauce history, what you got into spicy foods and brought you into the hot sauce industry.
Well, if my folks were around to hear this, they would not be very pleased with what I'm about to tell you. But they were growing up in an Italian household. Everyone thought I had like all the best food growing up, and it was always like kind of pretty bland and, very unlike most other Italian families I knew. And I always kind of wanted more out of food. And I knew there was something more, some better food out there that, could be offered. So fast forward, I ended up taking a job at a country club and ended up at the groundskeeper's end of summer party with a couple of the other caddy guys. And they were all of Latin American descent. They had their cool little powwow going, on the side from all the other, whiter than white folk eating hot dogs and burgers. They were doing like chilies and chicken on this grill, and it was wild. And we ended up eating with them. And I had never even, I may have had like, Taco Bell, but I never really had much in the way of interesting food at that point yet. And we ate all kinds of good stuff. And I just kept, give me this, give me that. They kept trying to feed us jalapenos stuffed with whatever and, see if we'd cry and it was the most delicious food I ever had. So that started the fire for me to want to explore into different realms of not just, spaghetti and meatballs or chicken parm or, hamburgers and hot dogs, like to get into some really cool food with some flavor and some heat. And, that's kind of where it started, was in the parking lot of a country club eating jalapenos.
That's awesome. So now I heard you say you're a pastry chef or were a pastry chef. Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
I actually, I was recently at a country club. I've been a pastry chef for about 24 years. And it just, it's not a very sustainable way of life. It's, a lot of missed family events, holidays, weekends, evenings. You're working every time everyone else is doing something. And when you're off, nobody wants to hang out because they're all doing something else. So I pivoted and I got out of the, full-time craziness of the restaurant industry and followed a teaching gig. So right now I'm teaching pastry and baking at Sussex County Culinary Institute in New Jersey. And I love it. And
wow.
Make hot sauce, having nights, weekends, and very flexible days. I can make sauce and then go to events and sell it and work both of those angles and make it work.
That's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, I love that. So what
Sounds like
made
a
you
full schedule?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's definitely busy. And every minute of every day, I'm pretty much doing something or other, which is why when I get time to sit on my ass, I usually just conk out.
Yeah.
But I love what I do. I'm busy, but I'm not crazy stress busy like I was working in a country club or a catering facility making like 5 or 6 wedding cakes a week and buffets of 1,000 people and things like that, you know, and still at the time trying to make hot sauce. And my business partner, Austin, I've known him since we were teenagers. And for a while, everybody thought, nobody even knew who I was because I wasn't anywhere he was. So he did all the events, was, you know, the guy out there at all the festivals and doing all the shows. And I was cooking on Mondays and Tuesdays when my off days were. Now we get to do it more together and really get to go out there and have a lot more fun with it than it used to be very divided, you know?
Awesome. California Hot Sauce Solutions, owned by Tim Paulman and Jay Roby, is a nexus point of hot sauce energy in North County, San Diego. And it's the home base for Tim's brand Paulman Acre, as well as Jay's Small Batch and a host of spin-off collaborations. As a co-packer, California Hot Sauce Solutions is the muscle and machinery behind many of your favorite West Coast hot sauce brands. You can find Paulman Acre and Jay's Small Batch at CaliforniaHotSauceSolutions.com or stop by their brick and mortar shop in Oceanside, California to sample hot sauces from the entire California Hot Sauce Solutions family. So now what started it all up? What brought you to that, starting the business?
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, Austin and I, we known each other since we were teenagers. And, you know, life happens, things got in the way, you know, work schedules and whatnot. I worked nights and weekends. He worked daytimes during the week. And, you know, some time had passed and we ended up reconnecting. And he was growing peppers, growing tomatoes, you know, had a bit of a green thumb, you know, was growing a lot of stuff in his garden. And I had started screwing around with a hot sauce because since that day when, you know, back at the country club, when, you know, we had that, you know, at my first taste, I'd been screwing around with some sauce recipes just to try and make a little of my own, you know, for fun. Nothing really, you know, to write home about, but it got to a point where I started really seeking out hot sauce and not just like Tabasco or, you know, that vinegary stuff. That's really not, you know, what I was into. And I started seeking out like whatever craft hot sauce was around in, I don't know, like mid 90s.
Oh, wow.
Not a whole, now there's like so much, you know,
Yeah, right.
back little,
Dave's Insanity.
Yeah, it was Dave's, it was Blair's, it was, you know, a bunch of like offbeat stuff, you know, the gimmicky stuff, like, yeah, the donkey shooting flames out its ass, you know, stuff like that. And yeah, we, you know, I would go to this one hot sauce shop in particular in New Hope, Pennsylvania. It was called Susie's Hot Shop, I think it was. No, Susie Hot Sauce. That was what it's called, Susie's Hot Shop now. It's still around, different owner. But this dude ran the shop. He got all these sauces from all over the country. And it was maybe about an hour and a half from me. And I would go there like on the regular and just try hot sauces. Everything was screaming hot, or it had, you know, it did no flavor, or it tasted okay, but it wasn't hot enough. And that's when I started kind of messing around with my own to sort of, you know, find that happy medium. So I didn't have to like mix a whole lot of stuff together. And yeah, that's kind of what ended up, you know, bringing that full circle. So when Austin and I reconnected after some time, you know, we both had families, this and that. And I was like, hey, man, let's do this. Let's, you know, we'll take all them peppers. He was making salsa and he's like, I don't know what to do with all these peppers, these plants. They just keep producing. I said, all right, man, let's make some hot sauce. So he had his garden, you know, produce, his peppers, tomatoes, whatever else. And we started bottling sauce and giving it away as gifts. And next thing you know, people were coming back with money. How can I get a couple more? How much for a bottle? 3 bottles. And that just kind of snowballed. We went to our first farmer's market and sold out, and the rest is history.
Awesome.
What year was it?
Oh, go ahead.
What year was that first farmer's market?
That was 2013, I believe, winter of 2013.
Yeah, right on.
Just before the holidays that year. So, you know, people were looking to give like people gifts, and we didn't have labels on the bottles. We didn't even know what to call each or literally just, you know, the name just sort of came from, all right, we need to put something on this. We need to identify ourselves, you know. And Jersey Barnfire just came out of like the area in New Jersey where we created the concept. the things that were around. We just, just kept drinking, beer after beer, and the ideas started flowing. We're just like spitballing back and forth, words, what do we have around here? Horses, barns, farms, think of fiery things, fire, devil, blah, blah, blah. And then the words Jersey and Barnfire just came out one after the other. And we were just like, whoa, hold on, what? And we're like, that's it. And then it was born.
That's great.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great name and a great time to get started too.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. And I see you got a bottle over there on your shelf there, Claire. Thanks.
Yeah. This is when we were both at the New England show, and we traded, and I think we got a couple, and I saw this one in the back of my cabinet, and I was like, well, I'm going to bring this one down. So
I love that.
That was really good. Yeah.
I love that one. Yes, I actually used your parsnip and onion on my Thanksgiving table. So
awesome. We just won a SCOBY. Yeah, SCOBY for that one. For that parsnip onion. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Very cool.
I'm looking forward to trying your ketchup. I like you're the only other hot sauce maker that I've seen yet that has a ketchup like us. We have one too.
Oh, very cool. We should.
Yeah, absolutely. I will talk after, definitely, because I think that'd be great. Yeah. So speaking of, what do you think are the elements of a great sauce?
I would say unique, versatile flavor combos, balance of heat and flavor. That's paramount. If you're going for, you have to be able to taste what's there. If it's too hot and you can't taste it. I mean, I know there's people that have way better, way more insane heat tolerance than I do. The hottest sauce we make is probably someone else's lower end sauce. But for my threshold, I try to keep it where my palate's at, where I can, where you can taste it, but it still has satisfying heat. I tend not to make stuff that I can't handle. That may change moving down the line. The tolerance gets better and better, as we, have evolved. But I just want it to be enjoyable and, have that that depth and that complexity that, that you just keep wanting more, and you're not like, damn, that's too hot, I'm done.
Yeah.
What level do you tend to tap out on?
The hottest I've ever consumed up until recently was I think I bit I ate a whole ghost pepper, and I was hurting real bad.
Fresh or dry?
Bad. Yeah, Austin and I actually did it simultaneously. We were growing some. We have a patch of land that we were growing some peppers on in New Jersey, and we had gotten some seeds and grew a ton of stuff. We had at one point, I think 800 or 900 plants in the ground, and everything from Scotch bonnets, primos, and scorpions, and all kinds of stuff. And we each ate a ghost pepper. This was maybe a couple of years after we started, and we were just dying, running around and now, I recently got slipped a Mickey, and somebody gave me some of the last dab, and I thought I was going to puke. It is really freaking hot. I know that's the point, but good Lord, I finally discovered the sensation of the cap cramps that everybody talks about.
Oh yeah.
I don't like
no
that
need for
all.
that.
No, it's miserable.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend
My business partner Jay and I refer to the fear, which actually comes from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. There's one point in which they're so deep that they talk about the fear. And occasionally you can look over and you can spot that person that's going a little heavy on the hot sauce, and they've got the fear. You can see it in their eyes.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the K. Johns used to do the Execution Station.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So him and Vic, and they put us one year. I forget what event it was. It might have been New York. We were a table past the Execution Station. So people were just getting through that and then come to our table. And I saw the look in their eye and the look on their face and the sweat coming down.
Yeah.
Their
face was red as my shirt. They were crying.
There's nothing worse than trying to get flavor to somebody after they've experienced that. You're you're done. You're lost.
Yeah. I was just come back in an hour or tomorrow.
It's mainly about providing emotional support at that point.
The milk.
We'll be back to normal in 3-4 days. Don't worry about it, man.
We've got counselors available.
Don't worry what happens to your pee. Yeah.
The old fire hose. Ooh, mercy.
Oh.
We would have just been, our sauce would have been freaking tap water for them.
Yeah,
right.
I feel the same way. We're in Idaho, and although we have chili heads here, they're few and far between. So it's like we're going to cater to our audience for the most part. We've got a couple of hotter ones, but nothing too crazy.
Well, and also, people always talk big game about the really spicy ones, but they put a dot here and a dot there. Like when you do the table sauces, that's when people finish them.
Yeah. If I give somebody a bottle, I want them to blow through it in like maybe a week or 2 weeks and not keep it for like, when they're, get their beer balls on and they want to compete with their.
And when they finish it quickly, they feel like they like it better.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what you want. They're like, oh my God, I finished that so fast. I have to go get another versus like, that's been in my fridge forever. Yeah.
We do a pumpkin Reaper sauce once a year. And we had toyed with the idea of doing it more because it was popular. But I noticed that people would come to me the next year and say, I just finished that bottle from last year. And I'm like, I'm not gonna do this more.
We actually drew back a little on our seasonal sauces. We used to make like 100 gallons of it. We do a strawberry, any fruit that grows in New Jersey. So we got strawberry, a peach, and an apple. And we just did the apple one recently. We still got some peach hanging around, but I want to keep it at a limited amount. It's good for the season. It'll maybe last us through February, March, and then that's it. When it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
And then it's wait till strawberry time. Because, it's also, it gives it that seasonality that like, you shouldn't be able to access it all year round because it is special to that time of year,
Yeah, we did our first seasonal peach this year and I love it. It's my all-time favorite hot sauce. And my wife and I were like talking about how I need to make some for myself. And I said, nah, you know what? I just want to wait for it till next year, till it comes out and I'll be as excited like our fans,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any go-tos, recipe wise, any trends, things that you do, the way you start, things like that?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Truffle ain't one of them.
Good call.
Yeah.
I will say Tim's got a pretty good truffle one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
No, it's a morel sauce with just a touch of truffle.
Yeah.
I tend to not go overboard on truffle as well. Same thing.
Well, that's what I meant. Is it's what is it called? The hint? No.
The subtleties.
Yeah, the subtleties that has truffle. Yeah.
Just a hint of white truffle in there.
Yeah.
To provide just the subtleties.
just a pinch, a tickle.
Yeah.
No, honestly, we had no idea what we were, when we first started. I'd been working in the restaurant industry and I'd been doing these events for this organization in New Jersey called the Food Shed Alliance. And what they do is raise money through these farm to fork dinners, utilizing, local chefs donate their time and feature farms on the menu. So, say it'd be like 8 or 9 of us, it'd be like pretty involved, and maybe 8 or 9 of us, we'd each get paired with a farm or even a couple of farms each to use their produce, their meats, their dairy, their eggs, whatever, in dishes throughout the whole menu. And everything was local, very, very, tight radius sourced. And we would, we'd raise money for sustainable agriculture in New Jersey through these dinners. And it was actually through one of the other chefs in one of these dinners that he was using this wonderful stuff called black garlic. And this was in maybe, I had first seen black garlic in 2010 at a restaurant in New York City that I was apprenticing at. Didn't really think anything of it. I tried it. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And then I never saw it again until probably about 2014 at my first farm to fork dinner. The same people, the organizer of this event was the same person who gave us our very first farmers market table to show, to see that if we could sell our hot sauce to the public. Because, your buddies will always tell you, oh, that's nice. Yeah, it's cool. I'll buy a couple bottles. But we want to see how it would go, to the masses. And it went very well. But it was also because of this organization that kind of gave us that little boot in the ass to get out to the farmer's market and try in a real environment, But so I saw this black garlic and I'm like, and the comp was pretty close by. So we were like, I reached out to him. I'm like, hey, send me some of that stuff. I want to try it in something. And they were like, all right. So we got the stuff, and actually we were making a batch of our original Jersey Barnfire, which has kind of been on the shelf for a minute because, it's not as, it's fantastic and shiny and sparkly as some of the newer creations we've made, but that was the first one ultimately. But so we're making this original Jersey Barnfire sauce, and we got this black garlic in the mail and decided to throw a handful into the original sauce and see how it would taste. And it was freaking amazing. It was off the chain. We were like, why hasn't anyone used this before? We didn't realize we were the first company that ever put black garlic in a hot sauce.
Oh, wow.
And
Nice.
yeah, we had no idea. And it just fell on my lap at that moment. We, one thing led to another. We tried it. We sent it out to, some people to taste it. And that's what actually catapulted the fire to really get the business legit. Cause, we were kind of, we were doing it in a commercial kitchen, but I guess according to FDA standards, we were bathtub gin,
Yeah.
So we got legit. We figured out the right way to do things and went through the whole process, which I'm sure you all know is a bit tedious. And that was the original, and the black garlic were the first two hot sauces we officially put out there. And that's what catapulted things. And we got a Screaming Mimi the first year we were in the New York City Expo for that. And
Awesome.
It just kept going. Wow. But yeah, in a way of other like trendy stuff. Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, I do like truffle in some, in the right places and in the right amounts, because it can be really aggressive, like rocket fuel if you overdo it. I would say in a lot of ways I've seen people trend wise seem to be gravitating towards hotter stuff. So especially with newer and hotter peppers coming out and things like that. I do find that a lot of people have asked us, dude, make hotter stuff. We love the Indian summer. We love the black garlic. Make it hotter. I was like, well, I don't really care for it, but maybe who knows? We'll see. But also, one cool thing that I'm seeing a lot too, and that I really think is great that a lot of people are doing, is a lot of ethnicities are being represented. You've got people doing a lot more Asian sauces. Bayou Gotham's got the Zing Dynasty. It's like a dumpling sauce with Sichuan habanero. It's really nice. Mikey V's got the Moroccan sauce. I forget what it's called. I think Moroccan Madness. It's delicious.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I tried it in New York City this year. You got the Seed Ranch, got this Nash Soul thing. It's like a Nashville hot sauce.
Yeah, I've got that one.
With the gochujang, and that's really not a really cool take on that. Our Indian summer, that was completely out of left field. It was a Caribbean Scotch bonnet with a Carolina barbecue twist, and that ended up being sort of representing a unique hybrid. I love to mash things up, and that was my mentality in the restaurant industry too. Different types of familiar things, but with a unique twist. So, or taking two familiar items and combining them in ways other people haven't before. And that's I took that way of thinking into hot sauce.
That's great. So
sounds fun.
What are some of your favorite sauces of your own? And maybe an example, and you don't have to, but if you have an example of a couple of recipes that just didn't make it for whatever reason, ideas that either you never brought out or you brought out and just didn't make it.
Honestly, my favorite sauce is our smoked ghost taco. And I love that more than any other sauce we make. Everybody seems to love the Indian summer. They love the black garlic. That taco sauce, for me, I would forsake all the others. Sorry, guys, for that. I literally got it in my glove box, in my backpack, in my hell, if I had a purse, I'd put it in that too. My wife's got one in her purse, though. Nice. It's funny because when we first met, she was like, I don't really do heat, before we really got into what each other did when we first started, met and started dating. I'm like, oh, damn. I own a hot sauce company. Yeah.
Give it a bit of time and everybody catches up, just takes a little bit of association and you start to become immune to it.
Oh yeah. Well, it was just going to enough restaurants and Mexican restaurants, places that made, have this just 2-bit 1-note vinegary crap that they're giving you. And, we were on a date one time and the food was very good, but the house-made hot sauce was just terrible. I was like, they put water in Tabasco and maybe like a pinch of. I was like, I can't do it. So do you mind if I go out to my car? And she was like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And I came back with the ghost taco and I'm dumping it all over everything. And she's like looking at me and I'm like, you can have some, And she's like, okay. And I just try a little. I put it on her food and she tried it, was like, wow, that's good. And now she keeps a bottle on her at all times. She's got like her entire office hooked on it. Her CEO buys Jersey Barnfire by the case.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Nice.
It's like she's becoming like a low-level hot sauce dealer. It's great because she's like behind it, and it means a lot to me, because she also like comes to a lot of the events and helps me, and we do. I mean, hey, it's cool when you love doing stuff with somebody else. When Austin can't make it or whatever, she's right there with me, and she can sling, man. She can sling. She can talk it up. She knows everything about it.
That's great. I know my wife is very active in our business, and I don't know about Tim, but I know Claire, your husband's pretty active too, isn't he?
No, he actually hates being part of it.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. He enjoys selling it occasionally. So we'll do events. He likes that. He likes a really crowded event where he can just get lost in the selling and the people and all of that. But generally speaking, he gets more annoyed at my business than actually.
He just likes the sauces, then, is what it is.
Oh yeah, no, he's the chili head between the two of us.
Okay, all right, that's what I misunderstood.
On my side, I have to give credit because when I was contemplating leaving my 9 to 5 to go do something else, my wife was right there beside me and said, "Yeah, you absolutely should go do something else." And so she really pushed me to do what I'm doing. And for the first couple of years, she and I were the ones that were in the kitchen, a few times a week, running 20, 30 gallons of hot sauce. And she was right there chopping onions. But it reached a point at which she said, hey, good luck with this. You're doing great. Keep going. But you really got to find some other help. So
yeah.
And then she did run markets for a while, too. I got to give her credit on that.
That's good.
Nice.
My wife still helps us with market. She didn't for about 2 weeks and ended up back there helping us with market. Yeah, so it's.
Yeah. I mean, it's great when you have that support, in your family. And also I couldn't really ask for a better business partner than Austin. I mean, we've legit been friends since we were, probably 16, and we were both like probably the two least likely to succeed at much in life. And, we somehow managed to do something very cool and productive. And honestly, he was the best man at my wedding. I just got married back in September. And
congratulations.
Congratulations. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, his speech, man, the boy can talk, but what he said, it really hit me right here. I was like, dude, he's my brother from another mother, and I know a lot of folks that's, no matter what, you're going to have your misses and your, disagreements and this and that. Things get a little, up and down. I mean, running a business is no easy task. Every headache is yours to bear. You don't got no one else to pass it on to, but I don't think either of us could do it ourselves. And it's cool that we can count on each other like that,
Yeah.
I have a different take on that as well, which is any of the problems that we face, they are our problems. We're not out there banging our heads against the wall for somebody else. All of us have done, to some degree. The problems and the stresses and everything else that we face, they are ours to face and ours to overcome. So I actually take that as an opportunity. And I love that about the business.
I'll agree there. It's so much more worth it when you're doing it for you than shouldering someone else's freaking headaches. Exactly.
Yes.
It's been interesting for me to train my managers on how to, because it is, for me, it's the same thing. Any problem that comes up, I just have to fix it. It's my problem. I have to, there's nobody else to hand it off on. But when I have managers, they have a choice. They could leave at any moment. And figuring out how to make sure that they stay motivated and interested and, want to solve the problems as much as I do. So it's an interesting problem to have.
Yes, understood.
Yeah, it's a lot of people don't know that we've got 5 owners actually, because we are 2 companies that came together, but me and one of my other business partner, Kevin, I get to bounce things off of him a lot. And he's been in the restaurant business for a long time as an owner. And it's really nice to have that other, he's got the business side behind him. So if I'm lost on something, I can bounce something off of him and he tries to make me do things, which is good because it keeps me, taking a step further. But also I need that outside voice. Am I going in the right direction? What do you think? It's nice to have.
Yeah.
100%. Honestly, like when we're like trying to figure something out, like the one thing that I'll overlook is the one thing he'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way around. So we kind of, if my head's up my ass or in the clouds or however you want to look at it, and vice versa, like we're there to kind of pull each other back down and ground it, and kind of, keep things moving forward and keep things straight. So, it's definitely good that we're not exactly the same type of person, because that little bit of contrast helps us reel each other in when we need to be,
Yeah. Flavor Balance Heat, the podcast for hot sauce lovers and makers, is brought to you by Irish Spike's unique hot sauces and Vandal pepper sauces. I'm Spike, the owner and executive saucier. Our sauces are handmade in the Pacific Northwest using the best possible ingredient. We believe that hot sauce equates to a balance of sensational heat coupled with a robust and complex flavor profile. Live your hottest life with Irish Spikes. Irish Spike's unique hot sauces and Vandal pepper sauces are available at saucecult.com. So what are your favorite sauces that are not yours? Your favorites and your least? And you can call somebody out as not having a good sauce, or you don't have to. Either however you want to do that. We're not into like trashing people, but if you want to, sometimes people do deserve it if it's a really crappy sauce.
Honestly, the stuff that I don't like is just that one note, vinegary, watery, 3-ingredient freaking, bullshit that's out there. I mean, it has its place. I know when my first hot sauce was probably Tabasco or one of the various cayenne pepper sauces of that nature. And yeah, I was just like, wow, I like the heat, but there's no complexity. So something that's just like flat I've never really had anybody's sauce that I could say, I'm just like, oh, this is garbage. This is straight freaking trash. I like what I like and I create what I like, which is why I do what I do. At the time, there was nothing else out there that I had found that I really enjoyed. So I wanted to, make what I felt was missing, at least for me. And it ended up, a lot of folks got behind it. So that was really cool. Because one cool thing is we branched out into co-packing. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but in Jersey, there's not a whole lot going on in our area that's, attainable for newer companies like we were when we started to get sauce made, that wasn't going to completely break your bank account or have to mortgage your house to do it. So we started helping other smaller companies out. It literally just happened by people, hey, I can't make a batch. Can you do one for me? Whatever we figured out we had to do to make it happen. And then boom, we started. There was probably, just not to go off on too much of a tangent here, we will have made our 50th hot sauce come the end of this year. And only 14 of them are ours. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. But so we've got to try and develop recipes for and make sauces from a whole bunch of different other companies that vary tremendously. So it's been really cool doing that, to be able to try all these different brands and, help them grow while we're growing and just get a really, great idea as to what else is out there. I've tried all kinds of stuff. I don't like anything like that one note, vinegary, watery stuff, or anything that's too hot where you just can't taste the flavor. And I want something that I'm going to enjoy, not experience cap cramps or extreme discomfort from, and use liberally. I don't like to just put a drop. I like my stuff swimming in a lot of cases,
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Jersey, we got this thing. It's like, you guys have heard of poutine, right? Poutine.
My husband's Quebecois, so.
Bingo. So, yeah. I had never, I grew up in northern New Jersey, and there was this thing. Not only the pork roll Taylor ham business, but the cheese fries with gravy. And every time you'd be out in the middle of the night after drinking your face off and you go to the diner, you get cheese fries with gravy and drown it back with some coffee. And it's essentially just Jersey diner poutine. So instead of cheese curds and French fries or potatoes of any kind, whatever, it was just like melted mozzarella cheese, brown gravy on top of fries. And it was like the best freaking thing. Swimming in brown gravy.
Yeah.
And so I like my stuff. If I'm going to put sauce on a meal, I'm freaking dumping a half a bottle on it. I want to be very well incorporated. Yeah. So having to put like a drop or two because it's too hot, it's not enough sauce for me.
So is there somebody else's that you really like another sauce maker that you just that you jive with?
I think I definitely dig what is it? Dragon's Blood Elixir. I actually have a bottle right here. I just got this at the New York City Expo. It's buckwheat jalapeno honey. I mean, this dude definitely makes some really cool sauces with some really unique flavor profiles. And he's like real low key, doesn't have this crazy fancy setup. Are any of y'all familiar with him?
No.
Dragon's Blood Elixir. Check that guy out.
I'm looking it up right now.
Very, very, very cool stuff. He's in Connecticut, uses all a lot of, farm driven stuff, local products in his area, and lots of cool flavor combinations that are not stupid hot. Like a man after my own heart. Definitely dig what that guy's doing. I love Hell's Kitchen. Ron Menon's a really good friend of ours. And we've done some work with him before, and he's a great friend. And, he was someone that we got to befriend kind of early on. And we've both seen a lot of growth out of each other, and, really cool dude, and makes some great flavor combinations and some cool sauces.
I'm hoping to get him on the podcast sometime soon. We tried to match it up and we kept running into some roadblocks. So I'm hoping to get him on.
Right on. Yeah. I think also Angry Goat's got a lot of cool stuff too.
Yeah.
They just, keep pumping out sauce after sauce, really, cool, unique stuff. And they're also very sustainable driven. They use a lot of farm produce in their sauces, and I can get behind that totally. Jersey's the Garden State, so as much as we tend to be known for other things like how nasty it is around the airport, or the Jersey Shore show, or the Sopranos, or whatever, the farmland aspect of New Jersey is way beyond what most people would probably imagine goes down in New Jersey. So I wouldn't have even realized it myself until I moved further out west. And it's like all there are farms. And in the South and Western New Jersey, it's so much farmland. It's so much more of the state than people think. So why not into that?
Yeah. Yeah. No, using local produce is just, it's taking what somebody else has produced and made really delicious and then just kind of not fucking it up. That's great.
Bingo.
So Desert Island hot sauce. Since we've talked about some of your favorites, did you read let me read it to you just so we give you the parameters. Your Desert Island hot sauce, you're on a cruise ship, you were sunk, and you're the sole survivor stranded on a desert island. There's tons of amazing food from the ship. It's all washes ashore. You can eat anything you want, but the ship carried only one sauce, an entire pallet. What do you want it to be? It can't be yours, and it can't be any of ours.
Man, if the movie Castaway would have had a completely different turnaround had it went this way. Oh, man.
One sauce.
Wow. Now, I know it can't be mine, but for the record, it would be the smoked taco sauce that I make.
I get it.
1,000%. I honestly, I can't really even think of anything else I would want more. And that's put me in a bit of a predicament here.
Why I like that question? Because it first of all, the idea is to highlight a bunch of different sauce companies, but also I like the question because it's the sauce that can be used on the most things. It has the most breadth for use.
Yeah.
And by not making it ours, because we're automatically going to have the one that we put on everything, of course. By not making it ours, it makes us think about all the other sauces that are out there and kind of go for that.
I honestly, I really tried to think about this, and my brain just kept cock blocking me.
I totally get it. You know, I'm going to tell you that mine changed recently, and Claire, I'm breaking the rules just to let you know that the cilantro onion, oh my God. I mean, talk about pouring it all over everything. That sauce was gone faster than any sauce I've ever had.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Claire sauce?
Thank you.
I imagine.
Yeah, the cilantro onion. It's one of our originals.
Yeah, beautiful sauce. And how you put that together, I mean, it's just a beautiful sauce. It's really nice, simple.
That really shines, like the smoked onion. It really shines those Walla Walla onions. I adore those onions. They're so sweet, and just from a use perspective, you guys should all appreciate. They're like this big. They're this big, and they're not a storage onion. So if we get them like right at the beginning of the season, they have no skin. So we get these like 1.5 pound onions with like no skin on them. We cut off the tops and we stick them in the freezer and use them year round. I love them.
We've got
the flavor is, of course, fantastic.
Plans to use those in a sauce because we've got a pretty big following. They're only a couple hours from us, and so we've got a pretty big following there. And so we have plans to create one. I'm going to do a smoked onion of some sort.
Nice. Well, yeah, and technically we're not supposed to call them Walla Wallas, but they're the same thing. Ailsa Craig is they're not called when they're not Walla Wallas, but Walla Walla is just easier to remember and more fun to say. So
yeah, I like that.
All right.
No, honestly,
go ahead.
we got ourselves a vacuum sealer, and that's been great because all these farm fresh peppers and things that we've been getting, we can seal them up and freeze them and not have to worry about the frostbite and that junk getting to them. And we've been, at the end of the season, especially getting like so much stuff, and to be able to use it all year round has been great. Our freezer is filled to the gills right now. So
I have a tip. So we have a 2,000 square foot freezer. We freeze everything, and you don't have to worry as much about frostbite as you would think that you should have to worry about frostbite. I have discovered it through mishap that basically all the damage that happens from frostbite, from freezer burn and on peppers and onions and stuff like that actually just concentrates the flavor and makes it better. It is really, I'm actually surprised at how much I've dug out some old peppers that like 40 plus years old that moved with us, that got warm and then cool. And I mean, not melted warm, but just went through all the changes, and they, to just sit there and eat it is not delicious. Blend it into a sauce and the flavor is concentrated down. It's really good and so easy to store. You really we don't vacuum seal anything.
That's good to know, because I was under the impression, because working in food service, they preach vacuum sealers and whatnot. So we thought we're doing a service to this stuff here.
I do find though, freezing them as whole as possible makes a big difference. The more cell walls that you break, the more flavor that's just going to get lost into the freezer.
We typically just destem them and throw them in back, freeze them. The one thing to do is, like, say if we don't have time to run the vac machine, say we just got too much dang stuff, we just batch it out like per batch in these, like a Lexan or whatever, those big rectangular deep containers. We'll batch it out. Okay, this amount goes for one batch of this, and it's like you just label it and then boom, you just pull that one out, and you're not thawing stuff you don't need. It's like just all back ready to go.
Yep.
So what's your favorite pepper?
My favorite pepper, I tend to gravitate towards habaneros. I mean, they're just so versatile. The flavor's so bright. My wimp can handle them. But no, I mean, I love I just love their whole makeup. Depending on where you get them from, we've had ones from different farms that vary slightly, and some will be really like citrusy and bright. You'll get notes of like almost like grapefruit or orange out of them. Depending on the heat level, but that brightness is what really really works for me. Like the majority of our sauces do have habaneros in there somewhere.
Do you get into habanero varietals?
I haven't too much. I mean, we've used red habaneros. We've again, we're just getting. We haven't had a whole lot of luck. Like, we stopped farming our own and started working with farms because they are doing. But also, it's not easy to freaking farm the land and make the sauce and have another job and take care of your kids and your family and all that. it's plus we were outgrowing the piece of land that we had. So we would only grow the stuff that like we couldn't find anywhere else, like scorpions, primos. We had some Scotch bonnets growing, a whole bunch of those, ghost peppers. And then we're like, as we got more and more into the industry and, meeting people and going to events, we would meet these farmers that would go there, or like the Bowers Chili Festival is actually on a chili pepper farm and in Pennsylvania. And there's one of the farms right there we've been getting our ghost peppers from for probably 5 or 6 years. And they're amazing. They grow fantastic peppers. I've recently found some places in my area too, like right close to my home, that I'm getting some great stuff from. But yeah, honestly, there was this one pepper though, and I don't know if any of y'all ever heard of it, but it's called a carbonero. Yes, no?
No.
I have heard of it, but I don't think I've ever actually had one.
Gotcha.
I'm assuming it's a off breed from a habanero.
It's I think 2 or 3 different peppers kind of hybrid together. I forget. One of them's obviously a habanero, something, a ghost pepper of some sort. It looks like a cross between an orange habanero and a ghost pepper, but it's very mild and it just tastes amazing. You can pretty much just eat it. The heat level is probably between a jalapeno and a habanero. This guy, Tony Sherwood, grows it in Florida. And he was some dude that we got to be cool with in the very beginning. I forget. I think Austin did, because when he started the farm, this guy hybridizes all these cool like pepper combos, and he sent us some seeds. We grew carboneros in New Jersey, and just started kind of messing around with them. Made a few like just one-offs and whatnot, but the flavor was just amazing. It was like a habanero on another level with a little less heat and just so much more flavor. It was so tasty. I would love to get my hands on some more of them. Haven't had them in a while, but yeah, they were very, very good.
I've grown a few habanero varieties that have little to no heat at all. And it's similar account to what you're stating, where you get the flavor of the habanero, and there's, in my mind anyways, there's a sense that the fuse has been lit and I'm just waiting for the heat to show up, and it just never shows up. It's a really interesting thing.
Yeah, one of my farms grows a Trinidad seasoning pepper that you feel, I mean, like the other Trinidad peppers, you feel like you're about to be hit. And I've been introduced it to my daughter, who is not a hot sauce person at all. And she took a little bit, and she was like her eyes got wide. She's like, "Oh my God, Mom, what did you do to me?" And then and then nothing. And then there was just nothing there.
Yeah, it's just present.
Yeah.
Hey, Zach.
What's up, you shit talking motherfuckers?
Oh, hey.
How you doing?
Oh, dude, I got my ass handed to me today. Holy
no.
fuck. I mean, it's a good thing.
All right.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, if your ass handed to you, might as well be with a side of some cash.
Yeah.
Right. It's a lot. It's a good thing that Dana showed up, man. Otherwise, I don't know what the fuck I would have done.
That's great.
Awesome. Well, I think, go ahead. What were you going to say?
What are we talking about? What's going on? Where are we
Hot
at?
sauce. We're talking about hot sauce.
We're talking about hot sauce. I know.
Fuck hot sauce right now. I don't want to talk no more hot sauce for the day.
Hey, let's talk pastries. Let's go. Let's talk about lamination.
Yeah, we got 2 pastry chefs going right now, so you know.
I'm not a pastry chef.
Oh, that's
I'm a
right.
baker.
That's right. Yeah, you're a baker.
Hey, John, you're a pastry chef?
Yeah. I've been for, God, too long. 24 years.
You don't look old enough to be doing something for 24 years.
I know, right? Yeah, I started young.
There you go. So actually, my next question was going to be inspiration. Who in the hot sauce world inspires you? You know, different companies, different makers. Who inspires you?
And this is definitely something that doesn't have everything to do with the sauce they make, or, it's not about like taste buds or anything. They make nice stuff, but Maggie Dilly from DEF CON. Now, I know you might know recently, John, her husband, passed a year or 2 ago from COVID, and she just seamlessly took over and is crushing, just like John used to do at all the events, continuing to make the sauces. The whole industry, all the friends of hers, everyone that we knew rallied behind her to keep, to give her whatever support we could give her, but like I couldn't even imagine like losing not only your partner in life, but in business, but in life too, and continuing to press on like she did is very, very inspiring. And the type of work that she does also, she's like a first responder for, like 911, basically. I forget, it's a town in New Jersey that she does like the dispatch or whatever, and ends up on the scene sometimes of like some really crazy, horrific stuff day in and day out. And then showing up at hot sauce events on the weekends and crushing it and doing these like wing eating competitions and just like shining like crazy. So she definitely is super inspiring. Like when any of us think, damn, this is a hard week, man, we got this and that going on, and what am I going to do? It's like, that's, fucking look at what she's done, and I know it's not always about comparing yourself to what other people are going through, because everybody got their own struggle and this and that, but it's just really something to, it's just very inspiring, that whole situation and what she's done with what she got dealt,
Yeah, I think in comparing in a positive way is usually a good thing. It's when you start going the negative way that it turns out sour. That's awesome.
Absolutely. And that's another thing that showed me what type of people are in this community, that we were all there for each other. And, I really haven't met anyone.
Maybe not all of us.
Well,
I'm not saying anybody here. I'm not saying anybody, but there are piece of shit motherfuckers in this community.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
But most of the people that I've, either aligned myself with or that I am familiar with, we're all in this together and we all help each other out. We, I mean, if it ain't going to be like that, then, I'm probably not going to have you in my corner anyway. But, it's good to see when it does happen that it happens in a real big way. And those are the kind of people I like to, keep company with.
Yeah, I agree. That's all.
Your accent is making me homesick, my friend.
What are you talking to me?
Yeah, you. I hear it. They might not hear it. I hear it.
Oh, I hear it.
Oh, yeah.
That's so funny because, like, I went and visited Oregon a couple of years back, and they were like, clearly you're not from around here. I'm like, talking about? What do you mean I'm from around here? What do you mean? What are you fucking talking about? And they get into the, talk like Tony Soprano. Come on, let me hear it. You're Italian. Let me hear it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my God, dude, like, that's so cool. You're from New Jersey. Wow.
I'm Claire George. I own Butterfly Bakery of Vermont. We make hot sauce, mustard, cookies, and granola, and 100% of our products are made with Vermont ingredients. The thing that I hear most often from people is that my hot sauce tastes like the peppers that are in it. We do really simple recipes that don't get too crazy and nitpicky, just to really accentuate the flavor of the peppers that are in there. The unique thing about our hot sauces is how much we feature the farm and the relationship with the farm and really bring the terroir of Vermont to our hot sauces. I am pretty sure I am the #1 purchaser of Vermont grown chili peppers. I would love it if there would be a legitimate pepper market in Vermont where people would know Vermont for its peppers. We're all better for supporting each other. And I think that part really shows itself with the collaborations that I do with the other businesses and the other farms, that I love working together and coming up with new ideas and presenting each other with new challenges. And I think overall that's the attitude here. And I absolutely love it because that's my attitude. I try to live my life with love. The ingredients that I use, I would say that my values are reflected in that I use ingredients that, again, feel good, feel loving, feel supportive. The relationship with the farmer was how it all began. If I changed the reason for it being, if I went out and bought some commodity peppers, it might not be as good.
So, hot sauce show and tell. Zach, did you bring anything?
I mean, I have this high spice that I show and tell already sitting on the desk.
I've got to go grab something. So
I didn't taste it. So.
Oh, okay. That's right. So I'm going to go grab something. I forgot. It was a rough start. I know.
What?
I got it. Man. It's in my kitchen. I'll be right back.
What about Tim? Tim's notorious for not bringing anything.
No, I actually did bring one this time. No, just beforehand, I was like, oh, shit, I should go grab something. I grabbed something very quickly. This was one that we made in our facility for a local company. The company is Dodo Hot Sauce. They've got a cucumber garlic jalapeno that they just brought to market. And what surprised me most about this sauce is that it was a pickle sauce, even though it's not described as a pickle sauce, because you get that cucumber, jalapeno blended together. And first tasting, I was like, oh, this is a fantastic pickle sauce, even though it's not called a pickle sauce.
Oh, all right.
I like the fact that
fantastic.
they didn't call it a pickle sauce.
Yeah. What'd you bring
Well,
us?
we're doing a show and tell here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I already tried a couple of these Dragon's Blood elixir sauces, and they're very, very good. You know, I don't know if you want to go for something like a try it on the spot thing, or
Yeah.
that's what we're going for.
Okay.
Okay. In that case, I was just given this at the New York City Expo. This is, I don't know if it's
Yep, I know what it is.
Shishito. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I have not tried this yet. The bottle is still sealed. I'm pretty excited to try it. Jason and Roberta are awesome. And like I was saying before, they make some pretty rad sauces. So I'm digging it. Let's give it a shot. I'll open this sucker up. And I don't even have a spoon or anything, but I'm just going to do a little bump on the back of the hand, you know, like.
Yeah.
There you go.
I know what that's in reference to.
Give it a little shake.
You don't have to go in the walk-in first?
Yeah, my God. Quick thing, right? So I was working pastry in my pastry station at this one restaurant in Jersey, which will remain nameless. And I kept noticing the Claire, those whipped cream siphons, right?
I know this.
Yep.
So I kept noticing that the whipped cream charger things from the siphons were disappearing. And I never what was going on. So one night, after I went through, I had what I needed for service, but afterwards I'm like, all right, I'm like, dude, got to order these for tomorrow. I'm not going to have enough. Saturday, I need it for service. I went out to my car and I forgot something inside. I come inside and no one else had left in the kitchen, but no one's in the kitchen. And I hear all this giggling coming from the walk-in. So I go and look in the little window, and as I'm walking towards the door, I hear they were all in there. And you hear the little cartridges dropping on the floor. I'm like, my God, it was literally the head chef, the freaking, what is it? The GM, the chef, the sous chef, the line cooks, they're all in there freaking doing with my whipped charger. I'm nervous, God damn it. Oh, yep. Jersey, love it. Okay, so here we are. Blistered shishito and garlic hot sauce. All right, here we go. Oh, it's thick. Thick like a bowl of oatmeal. Look at that. Holy.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
All right, here we go. Ooh, that is tasty. Very garlicky. Got that nice like pepper flavor. I mean, shishitos are like super freaking popular in restaurants. And apparently the deal with them is like 1 in 10 are hot and the rest aren't. So you might
wonder if 1 in 10 bottles has a little kick to it.
Hey, that's my joke.
Is it?
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
Yeah. We talked about that sauce.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's real chill. Not a lot of, hardly any heat. Lots of flavor though. I want to make some freaking like chicken skewers with this, grill them. It's not really grilling season right now, but hey, if I catch a good day,
there you go.
That's what I might do.
What are you talking about, man? It's always grilling season.
Well, we're not allowed to. I live in an apartment, so we're not allowed to have video. So I got it literally. It's funny because the courtyard down low, I'm on the second floor. The courtyard down low basically has everybody's grill. It looks like a grill graveyard. There's grills scattered about the landscape. Some of them look like they haven't been touched in freaking 10 years. Some of them look a little newer and nicer, better kept, but we got to go down and out in the yard. And, there's, maybe I'll just plant freaking one of them umbrellas in the ground next to it and just go for it.
Yeah. Sounds too cold for me. Fuck that.
I like grilling in the winter. It's warm. I mean, the grill is warm, not the outside.
Yeah.
I go out there with some cocoa or a little hot toddy or something,
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. I've got one, the Power Jablo. There you go. There, that's it. I haven't tried this one. I just took off the neckband as I was here, but that was it. I haven't tried it yet. But I do have, I'm excited to try this sauce. I do have a hot take in that I hate clear labels. I can't read shit on this thing. And I'm so excited to try it. I actually just like took pictures of it and like zoomed in, and then I was able to read what it was. And it sounds like a fantastic sauce, but I mean, come on, put some weight on the background there.
Which reminds me that I skipped hot takes, so we'll have to do that after this.
Ooh, making me cough already just by smelling it. It's got a nice like oil layer on there. So ginger, I think I'm smelling. Oh, that has got layers. I really like that. It's oh man, I want to marinate with that. It's separating pretty readily, so I have to shake it up kind of constantly. But it's got a real it's got ginger. It's got the flavors come in layers. Of course, I can't read what's in it, but it's got a nice ingredient list.
Label.
What?
It's that freaking clear label.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's a perfectly fair hot take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really want to try this I really want to marinate some steak and grill it. I want to marinate some steak and grill it. Yeah. I really like the ginger. It was I feel like I can taste like habanero. It's kind of got a Caribbean vibe to it. Yeah. I really like that one.
Awesome.
You got a Spike.
Oh, okay. I saw you shaking yours up. So
Hey, man.
I can't remember if I've done this one before. I don't think I have, but it's Halogi's Baldur's Bane.
No, you did do a Halogi sauce, but I don't believe it was that one.
Yeah, I don't think it was this one either.
I haven't tried anything from those guys. Not yet.
That's good. Got the wrong glasses on for reading. What do we got in here? White vinegar, yellow onion, orange juice, lime juice, jalapenos, Anaheim, cilantro, salt. Simple. Really, really
That
good.
is super simple.
Yeah.
Interesting.
If I had one thing to say, I'd put a little more salt in it. Other than that, that's me.
Oh, yeah.
Orange
You
juice
know
and
what?
cilantro. That's an interesting combo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, no. I do this Cuban style pork that's basically an orange juice marinade, and it calls for cilantro.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
Yeah,
going
we
over to
do-
the other side where I can.
We do
use
a-
it every day.
Coriander and orange, which is, I guess, the same thing. But
Yeah.
Nice combo.
yeah.
All right. High spice. I've already shouted this one out before. It's the papaya jerk sauce.
I think I forgot to link them. I need to link. Well, I'll link them this week, so that's fine.
Yeah. What do we got? We got papaya, Maui onion, Thai chili, cider vinegar, parsley, fucking cilantro. God damn it. Garlic, Maui honey, brown sugar, soy sauce, Hawaiian sea salt, allspice, thyme, cinnamon. Yeah, jerk seasoning. I don't taste cilantro, so it's fine.
Passes the
I really
test.
like it. I definitely want to put on some grilled chicken. A little bit hotter than I thought it was going to be.
Honestly,
Ugh.
I hate cilantro as like on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they like throw a handful of cilantro on top of like a banh mi sandwich or on Thai food or whatever, I will just pick it right the fuck off. But
You cook it into something, it's
Yeah.
different, right? Yeah.
if you balance it right with the combination of other things that complement the cilantro, it really can bring something to another level. Like the green sauce that we make, the garden state green, that went through probably about 8 months, 6 to 8 months of R&D because I refused to put more cilantro in it. And it was actually Austin that was like, dude, the only thing we haven't tried is adding more cilantro. I'm like, you ain't putting no more cilantro in that sauce. And he's like, dude, let's just try it. I mean, it's the only thing we haven't tried. I was like, all right, God damn it, we'll do it. And we added twice the amount of cilantro and lime juice than we originally started with. And that's what made the sauce.
I love it when that happens. I hate it.
I'm like, all right, you told me. All right, but but on its own, like I would not just sit there and chomp on freaking raw cilantro. I would rather, well, I was going to say I'd rather eat goat cheese, but hell to the no. I would probably take the cilantro over the goat cheese.
You don't like goat cheese? What the fuck's wrong with you?
Wait, that's
I'll
my
put cilantro on my goat cheese. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw on some goat cheese on a cracker. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Maybe
I've
some
got
pickled
that.
onions with it.
Yes.
No, I'm
More for you.
a cilantro fan at all. I actually have a bottle of Claire's cilantro sauce that I will
Shouldn't have
try.
said it. Yeah.
No, I'll try. No, Dana
try it
loves.
and then give it away. Try it and give it away.
Well, Dana will eat it. Trust me.
Dana will love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, she'll just gnaw on like bunches of cilantro if they're in the house.
I want that to, so I like the stem better than the leaf. That's how much I like cilantro. I mean, I like
I-
that
Wait, what now?
punch you
I
get.
just got the taste of asshole in my mouth. For that.
I think I've turned my husband into a cilantro hater because I will put it on everything. I love the handfuls on the banh mi. I have reached a limit before, but it's rare. And I just want to put it in everything. And my husband's like, stop.
I
Sorry.
literally, when I get a bunch of cilantro, I start cutting at the end, the other end, and start
Stalk end.
with the stalk. Yeah,
Wow.
I prefer that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just who I am. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah. All right. So hot takes. We've already had a couple today. Do you have any, aside from vinegary sauces, any hot takes in the industry? I think I kind of have one forming, but I'll let you guys, a few other people go first while I think about it. Marinate on it.
Hot takes. Honestly, I guess the only thing really is just, people that are haters, man. Like I don't know. I mean, I can't really think of other. I mean, yeah, you got your clear labels that clearly is pissed off about. But I fucking hate goat cheese, whatever. But there ain't gonna really be any hot sauces with goat cheese in it, so that should probably be pretty safe there. But no, I mean,
I'm gonna make one.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
You know, we have goat's milk, right? We could totally cheese and put it in a hot sauce.
Just overnight it to me when you make it, so I can barf. Okay, thank you.
It would taste a little like it. I mean,
yeah.
That caramel. Oh, I love that.
Oh yeah.
That's sour, sweet.
Yeah.
She's got a goat's milk caramel that's unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't know, John, if you know it. We own another brand, Fat Tone Farm Caramel, and we go and pick up goat's milk from the farm, bring it back, boil it down into like a cajeta, like a dulce de leche type caramel.
Yeah, sounds cool.
It's not as goaty as a goat cheese. Like, so it's not that.
I really don't know what it is, because like goat cheese makes so much sense in food and in terms of even desserts and pairings with things like hazelnuts and figs, and people make cheesecake with it. And, it goes so well with like fruit, and it really has a multitude of compatibility in food. But that stuff comes near less than a freaking 2 inches away from my face. I start throwing up in my mouth.
Yeah.
Instant gag reflex, huh?
I don't know what it is.
It's got a distinction. It's got a distinction.
What's that?
Camel milk. I saw camel milk at a health food store out this way about 3-4 months ago, which I didn't try it. It may be delicious. I don't know, but I was not adventurous enough to try camel milk.
Camel milk?
I would say that camels probably stink less than goats. Goats have a smell. I mean, not that I've been around a lot of camels, but I feel like camel milk would probably be more palatable than. I love goat's milk, but I understand that thing. Wait, camels in Vermont? Yeah. I think their humps would freeze.
Right?
Yeah. I think that we've already talked about the thin sauces and the labels, and there was one other thing. There was another hot take that we had. Tim, do you have any today?
Oh, I'm racking my brain over here. I know I've given a few others on the previous that I've been here with you. And I can't remember if one of them was reducers. Have we ranted and raved about reducers yet?
I officially call them fun stoppers now because of Zac.
Yeah.
So that's their official name as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I'm not
Orifice reduce.
Orifice reducer sounds awful.
Yeah, right. sounds like something dirty.
Yeah. Fun stopper. Which is so much better.
Which is apt. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been racking my brain trying to come up with something recently that really got me going, and I can't come up with anything. It's been a pretty decent few months, I guess, since the last time I was here. Nothing really raised my ire.
Yeah, I don't have very much. I do have. I think I went off on salt a couple weeks ago, and I'm still on that because every time I taste one that doesn't have enough salt in it, it pisses me off. Genuinely, if it's like, to me, it's like going to a really good movie and it's like 90% of the movie is great and the ending sucks and it's like the worst ending possible. That's what having a beautifully made sauce with not enough or no salt in it. It just kills me.
And it's flat.
Yeah. But the thing that on the hot sauce group that everybody's on, somebody was mentioning haters and something like that. And I get it, but I worry when we start going after people that, like, there's a place for, the term is negative usually, but gatekeepers in the world, and they help keep things kind of balanced. And I think we need to call out people that aren't doing the process right for their sake and for ours. And when people get angry about that, I mean, it just gets ridiculous. And you get all these people that are like, yeah, haters suck. And I got what you were saying, and you weren't talking about this. But I think we need to have people, Zac is always that guy, and it shouldn't always have to be that guy that's saying, hey, you need to clean up the way you're doing this. You're taking pictures out of your kitchen and you're talking about selling it, you're having a big season. That's not cool.
No. There's definitely a fine line there, but when I see stuff like that, I try to maybe not necessarily call him out there on the spot, but I'll message him and be like, hey dude, I'm just looking at it from like a big brother sort of perspective and being like, look, are you doing X, Y, and Z? Because if you're not, you shouldn't be doing it how you're doing. You should be following the proper protocols, because the people that have gone through great lengths to do things properly, and it's not cheap, it's not easy, and there's a reason for it, and that's to keep people safe. And if you're not doing it right, you're going to hurt somebody.
Yeah.
We don't want to hurt each other.
And the rules were developed by the industry. I mean,
Yeah.
it was the canned food industry that decided that we needed to have these rules, because otherwise people were dying and customers were going to be terrified of the industry. And everybody thought that was a bad idea.
You gotta have those safeguards in place, and it's one thing if I mean, now there's enough resources out there where even if you don't know better, you can still find out, to the point where you're not thinking you're selling stuff, like having record sales this week or month, and you don't even know what a scheduled process is. When I started, we had no freaking clue. There was very little information out there, which is part of the reason why we started doing the co-packing, is reaching out to people and being like, hey, we can help you get legit if you want to go down that road. But if not, at least if you want to keep it in your friends and family circle, whatever, but do it right. That's the bottom line, you know?
Yeah. I know what post you're talking about. I kind of briefly saw it. I mean, obviously I was getting my ass handed to me today, but there are companies that continuously post the same, oh yeah, we're doing whatever we're doing and it's going to be ready whenever it's, and it's like people have reached out to that person, and be like, hey, I don't think you're legit. Like, your label's hasn't gone through the fucking process. Your ingredient list is fucked 8 ways from Sunday, and they keep doing it. You know what I mean? So then it's like, at what point are we being shitty people? Or, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that we haven't tried or haven't brought attention to the fact that, like, hey man, maybe you should do this differently, or, you know what I mean? And they just keep, so like, of course they're going to get hate. And I'm not.
If there's people that you've reached out to, or, that have, basically said, yeah, don't worry, bro, I'm fine, and they keep doing it, at that point, you got really no other option but to be like, you need to freaking stop your shit.
And I mean, there's another make. What's that?
You've at least tried to approach it diplomatically, but if they're going to be like, yeah, you know what, you ain't the boss of me. But at that point, it's not about who's being the boss or whatever. It's about just doing the right.
Yeah,
it's like, so you're okay with hurting people and not doing things properly? Okay, that's be on your conscience, but I'm gonna tell everybody I know not to freaking buy your shit.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll call if they post or whatever. I'll just be like, hey, you got to do X, Y, Z, this, that, and everything else before you can legally sell. I'm not being a dick. It's just how it is. And if something happens, this is what could happen. You know what I mean? People think I'm being an asshole. I'm not being an asshole. I'm just being direct. There is definitely another maker that like kind of pushes the envelope a little bit, and I appreciate it because I kind of want to be that guy, but I don't.
I find that the majority of people that I bump into in that scenario are at a point where they think they're doing the right thing, and they just haven't quite gotten that last 10, 20%. And it's just a matter of coaching and helping, and most of them want to do the right thing. It's when you reach that point of it, it's a conscious choice of like, screw you, I won't do what you tell me kind of thing. I don't know what you do with that. There's not much I can do. So.
I think it becomes a political thing. And I don't want to bring up politics. We know how that goes. But in general, it's like, I'm not going to let the government tell me how to do this. Yeah. I don't want the government in my shit. And that becomes an issue because to me, it's always the same people who are, and forgive me, I know this is going down a political thing, but it's the same people that are against people saying defund the police, but they're totally fine with not funding the FDA. And it's like, you do realize that's the same thing, right? That's the same thing. These are the food police. They help make sure that what we eat is okay. And we need to fund that as well.
Did you guys see, I think it was John Oliver's piece about the FDA versus the USDA?
Yes.
Yeah. And I actually didn't see it, but my husband did. He was telling me all about it.
I would like
the
to check
difference between the funding on the USDA and the FDA is just, I mean, and obviously the risk level is different with, meat versus, onions, but it is, it's out. I mean, it's kind of crazy how much we don't let the FDA do. I mean, they can't force a recall. Like, most people don't know that. I mean, and that's pretty insane that they can't force a recall. You know, they can make your life pretty miserable. You know, they can basically shut you down, but they can't force a recall. That if the maker just is like, nope, the FDA can't force it, which is just, I mean, yeah, right.
That's
well, I mean, look at our Hot Ones situation. I filed a complaint with the FDA because that co-packer probably didn't even fucking investigate it. They're like, cool, we'll make a note of it. And I'm like, okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for nothing.
Yeah. I had a glorious moment at the market today. Pima County Health Department rolled up to my booth. They're like, hey, do you make this locally here in Tucson? I'm like, yeah, I do. They're like, how come? And I'm like, because I'm FDA and you don't want nothing to do with me. And he's like, nope, you're right. See you. Have a good one. Fuck away from me.
It actually blows my mind that
I'm above the law.
I'm above your law.
You know, so obviously across every state, we have we're all probably every single one of us on here following different set of rules. But it blows my mind that that your health department doesn't also inspect you, you know, that like, but you know, every state's different. It's cool. But, you know, Vermont is pretty lax. You know, we've kind of got that same, we don't have all the extra layers that you've got, which I heard your episode and those cannery release situations. Oh my Lord. But you know, the fact that the health department is just like, nope, like we're not even going to touch it. I just find that crazy. I mean, our health department kind of looks around, they come in, they look around, they go, okay, looks good. And leave, but that's because they've been coming to us for 20 years and aren't really concerned. But
if I ever get out of the shared kitchen space, basically, and build out my own spot, what's going to happen is the local health department will come in, make sure I have the floor drains and the sink. Okay. You know what I mean? But as far as like the regulation of the acidified foods, they don't.
Right. They have
nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Well, you know, so that's also interesting because you're in a shared space. I hadn't thought of that. In Vermont, every company, even if they're in the same space, has to have their own health department inspection. But I could see why different states would handle that differently. So that makes sense.
It's the Wild West.
Yeah.
It's the Wild West. So I have a question for John. Did you share the story of your first batch of the black garlic? And that whole shit show?
The one that you probably heard that story from Austin, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. All right. So, this was actually pretty wild. So we were making our sauce at the Rutgers Food Innovation Center, which is basically a incubator for, you know, brands. And they've got like the food scientist and the QC guy. It's like you can go there and make anything and they will show you the right way to do it. Like we learned everything we learned from these guys. So, and I mean, this dude was the most strictest quality control guy, up everybody's ass, you know, looking at every little freaking detail, like just the squint, you know, every time you turned around, he was, hey, what are you doing? You know? And we were like, this guy's such a pain in the ass, man, just get away from me, you know? And it turned out he ended up saving our ass one time because we did a batch of the original sauce. It wasn't the black garlic, but we did original black garlic at the same time. So it was two different kettles. We had 100 gallons each, and the kettles had agitators in them, almost like, you know, with a paddle on a KitchenAid mixer to keep the sauce moving. And we had it paused while we were blending it with the stick blender. And I guess what had happened after the sauce was made, you know, we went home like nothing, you know, we're none the wiser. And the guy calls us up and he said, we got a problem. So what's the matter? He goes, your batch. And this is also the importance of keeping batch records, or else we would have had to throw away everything. But this guy goes, when I examined the agitator before you made that one kettle of the original sauce, and after, it was missing a chunk off the blade, which means somewhere out there in the freaking hundreds and, you know, whatever, thousands of bottles that we bottled, there was a little piece of plastic about the size of my pinky fingernail in one of the bottles. And there was no way to know which one it was, but we knew because of the batch records and the fact that he checked that part of that kettle before and after the cook, that we narrowed it down to that one specific kettle. So what we had to do was dump the whole batch, and redo it. But had he not looked at that and we sent that out into the wild and somebody got a bottle with a friggin' piece of plastic in it, that could have been a big freaking problem.
Yeah. Well, that actually sounds a lot like the scenario I tell to the people that are like, I don't want to have rules, or I don't, I hate to say this, but it tends to be, because I'm a chef, and it tends to be other chefs when they get into the industry, they don't understand it's just more strict than being in the kitchen and tossing things in and changing things.
Sure.
And so they're just like, I can do what I want. So I always tell them, you probably can do what you're probably totally capable of making a perfectly fine sauce and producing it and putting it out. But that one time that you get a message from your spice people that there was shards of metal in some spice they sent out, in the garlic they sent out, and that there's a recall on that, you aren't going to know how to deal with that because you've done no recall plan. You've got nothing set up. You don't know what to do. You don't know where that has gone. And that's why all of this stuff is so important. It may have nothing at all, and probably would have nothing at all to do with their process at all.
Sure.
We were tied up in that whole peanut recall. That was back 2010, something like that. Peanut butter. I mean, that was just, was salmonella peanut. And our peanut butter was not, but our peanuts were. And we just lucked out that every product that had peanuts in it was baked past a point of 170, and we didn't end up having to actually recall anything. But if it hadn't at the time, we were still a really young company and didn't know what we were doing. We didn't have a recall plan. We would have literally had to pull every single one of those products from the market. And after that, I was like, let's fix that. Let's make that better because, nowadays, I mean, yeah.
So, like 3 weeks ago, I got an email from Cisco because, I buy these onions, and a recent batch of these onions tested positive for salmonella. And they're like, but luckily I haven't. It's been so long. It was, since I've purchased these onions, like this was thankfully more recent than I purchased. So it didn't really affect me. But because it was in my sales log, they had to send me the email.
Well, and you have to heat. You always heat yours above 200 anyway. It would be fine.
Oh yeah,
it's like chicken.
Yeah, it's not a question of if you will get some sort of notice like that. If you're in the industry, it's when. I mean, it happens every month. You get that email of this thing is wrong, that thing is wrong, and like Zach, sometimes you get contact from Cisco that hey, be on the lookout for this, be on the lookout for that. Like if you don't have those notes, and if you don't have that traceability, then what are you doing?
The whole reason I wanted to do this podcast, or not, Zach and I would talk on the phone and we would go on and on about all these people that we'd be dealing with. And it dawned on me that the best way to change that and make it better is to not always just have to go after people, but to create a conversation that they want to be a part of where things are being done the right way. And that's kind of what this is about. And it's also about highlighting hot sauce companies all over the country that are doing a great job. But the main thing that drove that was trying to address it in a positive way. I hope that we're doing that. Sometimes I feel like, we're not, but I feel like for the most part we are.
It can most definitely be addressed in a positive way, and like, a way that you can extend what, you've learned onto somebody else and, give them, some advice and some guidance to be able to do the right thing and point them in the right direction. But yeah, again, whereas most people are going to, be like, I didn't even know I was supposed to do that. Or, it depends, like, the type of person or, the sensitivity level of whoever you're talking to and how they take it. You never know, someone could be like, yeah, well, like we were saying before, oh, you're not the boss of me. You don't gotta, I'll do what I want. You might have a few of those knuckleheads that aren't thinking that that what they're doing is going to create any situations or any issues. But I think for the most part, people approached the right way with, that in mind are going to want to do the right thing. I recently came across some people at an event I was at, and I saw they didn't even have barcodes on their bottles. They had no label. I mean, the labels were missing a lot of key information. I kind of just had a feeling that there was something up, and I was like, yeah, it got into like a little shop talk with them, and I was like, yeah, you know what pH you cook these at? And they're like, I'm like, oh, who do you go to get your process authority from? I'm looking for a guy, and they're like, what's that? I'm like, all right. I'm like,
how does a company like that even get to an event? Because I feel like
because the events don't check for that shit.
No, they don't.
90%.
Well, and depending on the kind of
events,
event too, they don't even know to look for it. If it's a craft show, they're not going to know to look
they
for,
don't know what processes or to see your FDA accreditation or whatever, your, LACF, any of that stuff. They don't know, like you're saying, to look for that. They just want to see you have your food handler certificate. All right, great. You're in.
Yeah.
That's all that most places will ask for. But yeah, when it comes to FDA stuff, your local health department that's responsible for, taking paperwork from a vendor for an event likely isn't going to look for that, whether they know about it or not. So, yeah, I mean, I'd have to say.
I feel like some of the larger events get some questionable products, man.
Honestly, I can't say I've attended an event where they've asked for that ever.
Yeah. I mean, it would be hard for an event to even ask for. They're not going to ask for. I mean, they could ask for a schedule process, but they're not going to ask for every schedule process.
I mean,
that the health department gives you a certificate, and I guess they could ask for your latest FDA inspection. But if you're less than 3 years old, you might not have one at all.
Yeah, well, and also they barely ever visit. Sometimes, like I haven't gotten a visit in freaking like 2 years.
You better knock on some motherfucking wood, dude.
We just had our inspection.
And they know, like, I've been in contact with the FDA rep saying, like, hey, it's been a while because we were looking to get involved with a distributor, and the distributor wanted to see a more recent inspection. That's the people that are usually asking, like, if you get involved with a supermarket chain or some type of distribution network, they want to see all that stuff because they know about it. So we were like, can you come and inspect us? And they were like, we're tied up, man. They're like, they literally sent me on like company letterhead, a letter saying, hey, these guys are cool. Let them go. I'm like, okay. I'm like, but what if we weren't?
Yeah. Well, that goes back to the FDA being cash strapped.
I've been thinking a lot lately, and this is kind of changing the subject a little bit, but based on the story you told us, I've been really thinking about, I think it would be fun to do an episode coming up here where we focus on equipment. Get a bunch of us on here and talk about the different things we use. I mean, pH meters even, just talking about which ones we use, how we go about things. Claire, you've talked about the different kettles you have. I'm just starting to get into that world. Zach and I are he's going to help me out a little bit with it because my brain does not wrap around that kind of stuff. So I have to, once I learn something, I'm good, but I have a hard time conceiving of it. So I think it'd be fun.
And I'll say it, like, I know, Tim, it's a pain in the ass to go through what you got to go through, but you're probably not that any of us are really going to have a problem, but I feel like you have less of a problem or potential problem.
We definitely have more eyes on us for sure. And they will catch any problem before it really becomes a problem. I mean, from the point of inspection to release, I mean, if there's a problem with the pH, we're going to catch that almost immediately. We send that off to the state so they can run it in their own labs after we've done it with the inspectors. So there's another level of accountability. They've already reviewed the recipes. So even before we run anything, there's a layer of accountability. So it is a pain in the ass, but at the same time, I think it's the way that it should be done to protect everyone involved, from us as the manufacturer, the brand owner. They can be sure that what they're getting is quality. The consumer, they can be sure that what they're getting has already been put through, several tests along the way. So, I mean, there's degrees on the spectrum for sure. And ours is, pretty far on this side, but from a safety perspective, it's not the worst thing.
Yeah.
And if we were to all, even without having those regulations, try and get near that, I think it would be a good thing.
Yeah.
So, definitely can't.
So Maricopa County is kind of starting to follow suit with California. So it's probably only a matter of time before it travels down here to Pima County. But my buddy Paul at Big Reds, like, they had the county health department in their kitchen for like a month straight, writing the book on acidified foods so that there was accountability to not accountability, but there was someone overseeing the manufacturing of hot sauce.
Like a QC guy that they just planted there, huh?
What's that?
Well, like a QC guy that they just kind of planted there temporarily.
Well, it was Maricopa County Health Department, but they were like, hey, man, we noticed that the FDA is not like regulating any of this like they're supposed to be because they're short staffed and underfunded. So the county stepped in and started doing basically what they do in California.
Yeah. No, I mean, we were taught to keep really tight batch records. That place that I told you about with that really hardcore QC guy, he was a pain in the ass, but he taught us really, really, really well. Yeah. And we follow suit because we, if we're going to go through the trouble of making it, we want to make sure it's made right, it's made well. And you trace everything back down to where, it came off the freaking boat,
Yes.
As well as we can trace it at least. And I mean, every time we've had inspections, we've passed with flying colors. We actually, this one time, and this was not nerve-wracking at all, we had the FDA inspector, the state of New Jersey, the county of Sussex, and the town of Andover all in the room at the same time while we were making 2 new sauces that we had never made in mass production before. They may have required some, like they just chose to show up. I mean, we aren't there every single day, or at the time we weren't there every single day. So we had to tell them we were going, so at least kind of had that little bit of a leg up. We knew they were coming. But if you operate in such a way where you almost always treat it like they're going to show up, there's never anything to hide, and you're not scrambling at the last minute. Like I'm sure all the chefs that have worked in restaurants where they got stuff all over the floor and walk in, blah blah blah.
Distract them, bring them to look at this area so we can clean up that area.
And then they're calling the people down the road saying that they're going to be on their way next. Yeah. Like, why? Yeah.
There's been crazy, like on the fly health inspections during service, during a wedding, at places I've worked. And it's like the second they walk in the door and the hostess sees the clipboard, they're on the radio. Oh, we got, get the shit off floor, and they're like intercepting them. Oh, would you like a drink, sir? Okay. No, I just went, no, come on. They do everything to like slow them down before they get to where everything's totally fucked. And it's like, if you just did it right the whole time. I know it's hard sometimes, especially in restaurants. When are you ever fully staffed and or have plenty of space to keep everything you need in and off the ground, or however it needs to be according to rule? And so you're scrambling a lot of times at the last minute, but with what we're doing, it's a little different too, because it's not just like keeping a box of lettuce on the floor versus, if you don't cook your sauce to the right temperature or the right pH, that it'll kill somebody,
Yeah.
Well, and it's the difference of making one person sick versus, 1,000 people sick.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that many levels of government were tripping all over themselves trying to figure out where their jurisdiction began and the other one. Wait, is this you? Is this you? Is this me? Who is this?
They literally just stood next to one another in line, in the same spot almost the whole time, just watching us. Occasionally one of them, well, you go this time, and they'd go and just kind of look a little, okay, I'm sure, okay. And then they'd step back and the other person would step forward, and then they'd look around and then step back. And it was like that all day. And then the only person who wanted to interview each of us at the end was the FDA inspector. The other ones went home, and then they signed off, and that was it.
Yeah.
But all of them at the same time, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
So, okay, last thing. Do you have any questions for us? And you got a lot of us. So if you. All
right. Well, let's see. Gosh, I'm going to say I got a couple right here. We already talked about some, the hot take stuff and all that. But, real quick, I freaking hate goat cheese, and I've already made that very clear. But in terms of ingredients, what do each of you absolutely, undoubtedly cannot freaking stand in terms of an ingredient in either a sauce or a food item? The one and only absolute worst one.
Bullshit oils, like processed garbage fucking oil in sauce or any food, really I won't eat it.
There's not a lot that I won't eat, to be honest. I'll try anything once. But if I'm looking specifically at a hot sauce and I see a red dye number 43 or a yellow number 87, it always puts me off a little bit. I mean, I'll still try it, but it's kind of puts me off a little bit.
So like preservatives and artificial crap and filler material, stuff like that.
Yeah, specifically colors. When they call it out, I don't know why.
Gotcha. What about you, Claire?
Gosh, I don't know. I'm like Tim. I'll try anything. I'm not a big fan of gums, and I've learned that like they can be done well and they can be used well, but often sauces that have gums or salsas that have gums, that's even worse for me, will have a texture that really just, I really like tomatillo salsas, and often to deal with the water there, they'll add a lot of gums. So I've had sauces with gums that I enjoy, Spike.
Oh, thank you. I was going to say, I actually like that texture.
Yeah. And, but I've had some that just, I tend to stay away if I see that in the ingredient list because I'm not sure.
We have a tomatillo avocado salsa that they used cornstarch in instead of gum.
So I actually, as a baker, and actually I'm primarily a vegan baker, so we do use cornstarch and arrowroot as an egg replacer a lot. And so I found fun places to use those. And so I actually like cornstarch better than arrowroot in any sort of saucy way, because arrowroot make things feel like snot in your mouth.
I use arrowroot.
Yeah.
I love arrowroot.
Well, obviously we're talking about a volume difference.
Yeah. We actually don't use very much.
Yeah. Well, and I like arrowroot as isn't arrowroot like a pest plant? So like using it is like good. I think it's one. I think I remember learning that. It's what?
What is it? It's like invasive or something?
I think it was invasive or something. And I feel like using an invasive is never a good thing because then it causes it to grow more. But I remember it was a good thing to use as opposed to corn, which is, kind of massively destructive.
Sure.
So, but I like it. I love it as an egg replacer. I use it as an egg replacer in all of our baking. So.
I actually, arrowroot, I'm curious about the using cornstarch because the cornstarch is not going to hold up to the acid very well, which is why arrowroot works better for us in our sauces, because arrowroot stands up, not completely, but stands up much more to acid and doesn't break down. That's why we chose it.
Let me go grab that jar real quick.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I've never worked with cornstarch or arrowroot in an acidic environment, so I hadn't thought about that.
We tried it, and everything just separated.
Yeah.
It was early on.
We have a client who uses pectin and xanthan gum to thicken their sauces, and they react together to kind of leave, but we still deal with separation in their sauces too.
Okay,
so.
what do we got here?
We use that in our Bizarro sauce, the cranberry habanero, and it works very well.
Which, if I don't know how much you guys have worked with pectin, we had a co-pack client who was doing a pectin based sauce. It was basically like a spicy runny jam. And the vast difference in how different pectins have to be treated and handled is just staggering. And we ended up in like long phone calls with like scientists at DuPont to make sure that we were like handling this in the right way and making sure that it wouldn't break during the bottling process and that it would stay solidified. And it was just,
there's quite a few varieties. Like you're saying, there's quite a few varieties, like you're saying, and all of them react differently depending on. Some react with calcium present, some react with the sugar, or it really depends. Acid, fats. It really varies a lot.
And it was funny because we were actually working with two different pectins at the same time from two different co-pack. We were doing a jam and we were doing the hot sauce, and one broke down as you cook it longer, and the other one got more firm as you cooked it longer.
I got a pectin sauce right there. Strawberry preserve.
Yeah.
So after looking at the salsa, I'm going to go ahead and say it's not acidified. So probably why they use cornstarch.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Well, but it's still a high acid environment from the tomatillos.
Probably not.
I mean, are you going to get killed? But no, I mean, we generally don't add citric acid to our tomato products because we don't have to, because it's got a high enough pH or low enough pH. Sorry. High enough acidity, low enough pH. Yeah. High enough acidity, low enough pH. I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Honestly, gum used in the right amount can give you a great texture. And I've never had any problem using it. The reason why I began using it was because I used it a lot to thicken sauces and pastry. When you need quick puree, sauce for a plate, whatever, you can incorporate it cold, hot, whatever. And a little goes a long way. You can get by 100-gallon kettle with maybe like anywhere from 7 to 10 ounces of the stuff, and that's nothing.
Oh, yeah. You mean 3.75 pounds and 15 gallons of water for a 100-gallon kettle is not fucking normal?
That seems high. Just going to say it.
Yeah.
Seems high.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, Tim. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
On the highest end, the most we would ever I think we've ever used would be like 0.13%, maybe 0.14%. For a batch. We won't go any higher than that because it gets weird, and I don't like that weird. That's that texture. So keeping it lower, usually 0.12%, is exactly where I like to be.
Yeah. I mean, we try where we don't want it to get high enough where it gets that snotty effect ever. Yeah. So obviously, we want to keep it where the mouthfeel is pleasant and not like jalapeno flavored snot or
the poison's in the dose,
bro.
I think I told this.
Well, the taco sauce right behind you there, Claire, has got some in it. So
obviously it doesn't clearly turn me off because there we go. And I still really like this one. This was the one that I tried there, and I think this was one I bought. But
you can definitely far for sure. But you do it enough and you find that happy medium. In the beginning, there may have been a little fluctuation when we were still figuring things out, but we pretty much got it down at this point.
When we first started, one of the first batches, we have it'll be coming out in about a month, a grapefruit habanero that we do. And that was one of our first sauces. And we didn't put the xanthan gum in correctly and didn't blend it enough.
Got the chunks going.
Oh, the nodules.
They look like gummy worms in the sauce. I went, what's wrong with this?
You got worms, bro.
Oh, that was nasty. We had to throw the whole batch out.
All right, folks. I love you all dearly, but I am fucking exhausted. So I gotta go.
Well, we need to end it. We are 30 minutes past. It's time to. Yeah, I know it goes fast. Man, that is the problem with this podcast, man. We would sit here and probably talk all fucking night if someone didn't be like, that's it. All right.
Well, on a final note, man, it's been really cool rapping with all you guys. I appreciate you having me on and hearing all the, shit I'm spinning, and, really cool to get to, finally talk to you, Zach. I don't even think we've ever.
It's messenger, man. Well, my voice is a little weird right now because I don't have any fucking teeth, but I'm working on it.
But no, it's cool to put the faces to the names and have some conversation with you all. It's been real. It's been cool. Thank you.
John, I'm going to send you an email with everybody. I definitely want to get your address. I'd like to send you some sauce. And
likewise, please.
Yeah.
Let's all check it up.
We got to trade ketchups. That sounds awesome.
Definitely down, man.
Sounds good.
So, I'm not a ketchup fan, John, and I have a bottle of Spike's ketchup in my fucking refrigerator. It's delicious.
Right on. Looking forward to trying it.
Awesome, man. Thank you. I'm looking forward to trying yours. I saw that and my eyes lit up. I was so excited.
Doesn't get much more Jersey than that, man.
That's awesome. Well, I'm not. I'm a West Coast guy, but my entire family is from New Jersey. So there you go.
Right. Nice. You got the ties, man.
Well, thank you so much, John. Yeah, have a good one.
Yes, you as well.
Take care, everybody.
All right. Yeah, be good.
Night,
thanks, everyone.
Flavor Balance Heat, the podcast for hot sauce lovers and makers, was brought to you by Butterfly Bakery of Vermont, High Desert Sauce Co., and Irish Spike's unique hot sauces and Vandal pepper sauces. This has been a Spike Mind Media production.